Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little lesson today for endgames. This position between two players, Russian players, not grandmasters, but about master level. And white has advantage for a pawn, so they have these active knights. Black has rook on h8, not developed, and semi-suspicious bishop on h6, which attacks the e3. So in this position, there is this tactic which doesn't work just yet. If white takes, then rook takes and fork on e3, but the problem is that king will go to f6 and capture the knight, and black will be actually winning. So white has some decent position here. In this position, white played a very obvious king to f2, just protecting the e3 pawn. But after knight to c6, exchange, and rook to c1, white won the pawn back, but black just is not binded anymore by the white pieces, so they activated the bishop to f6 and drew the game. Of course, white didn't play perfectly, but you see that black got a full game for them. So in this position, there is much better move for white, if you can find it. So the best move for white here is knight to g4, exclamation mark. So it actually restricts the bishop on h6, it protects the e3 pawn, and now it activates this idea to take on the d8, the knight. Also notice that now king has to protect the bishop. So just king cannot move, white king will capture it. So black played knight to c6. So if white now takes on e6, then king f7 and attacking the e6 and freeing the bishop, so it's not the best move, and that's why white played rook to f1, so they restrict the king. So black played back, defending the pawn, and h4. So this is the idea of white. If black tries to play g5, then it's h5, and you see that this beautiful knight here dominates this bishop on h6, and if king moves, then they lose the bishop and the game. So what rule is here? In endgame, you should try to think schematically, yeah, like find you know, just if you can trap the piece, then it's a good move, of course, and just not to give your opponent too much activity. If he, even with a pawn, some pawn sacrifice, can free themselves, then it's good chances to draw the game. All right, and the second position is this is actually why I decided to show you this, because I actually knew this position. I remember it from like 20 years ago, I think not 20 but 30, and not 30 but 25, let's say. It's definitely correct. So what's going on here? Black has this extra pawn, but they have all the double pawns, and this bishop has to protect the a7. So you might think that, well, maybe black is not even better. But it's black's turn to move, and the most obvious move is rook d2 attacking the b2 pawn. The engine suggests here to play e4, but with the idea, I think if you take, then a5. Yeah, and if black takes, so let's take, and yeah, this position is a draw according to agent, so taking is not recommended if you're trying to win with black. So white played knight to a4, and if you see the bar on the right, so black is winning. If you can find the best move for black here, so it's all exclamation mark moves next, and engine suggested that the players played the strongest, so it's very good for that 1936 something. So in this position, black took the pawn, which is defended by the knight. So obviously white takes and c3. So the idea of black is that if let's say rook to d7, then c4 discover check, king f1, and c takes b2. So these two pawns are just marching in and winning. C3 and knight a4. What if so if white plays knight a4, then it's c2 and black is winning. So white didn't do that. White took the bishop on b6. So if black plays c2, then it's knight to d3, taking the square away, and slowly white is winning. That's why black in this position played c4. Now they take away this d3 square from the knight, and if knight takes on c4, then it's c2 and the pawn reached the first rank. So c4, and in this position white played rook to b4. Again, if black takes, then white is winning. If black goes to c2, then white is winning again. They stop this pawn. So what would you play in this position? The right move is a5, attacking the rook. So there is no other move than to take on c4, and then black takes on b2, and they have this b4 square protected. So black won, and in this position white resigned. All right, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.